Why do we follow a Shia? Why are the Imams so intricate in terms of our belief system? Because you have other sects of the religion, which is great. We love our Sunnis brothers. But at the end of the day, there's a differentiation. Why do we adhere so much to the Imams? What's the reason? Another question. What does the Imam give us that we can take today? That we can utilize every day, every second? What does he give us? And that is patience. What are the 3 types of patience? Then, how do I become patient? How is willpower and patience connected? Please, I'm going to ask again, just one more time. If we could please have some quiet, please. Please, again, it's very distracting. So if we could please just have some quiet, please. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Okay, so now we have established the question, why do we follow a Shia? Again, please, I'm sorry, it's just very distracting for me to talk. So if you don't mind, please keep it down. Thank you. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. All right. So Imam Hussain alayhi salam, one hadith gives us so much information in terms of what the Imam entails. What does it mean to have this patience? So on that level, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he says, Mashi'atullah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. On that level, he says, Mashi'atullahi ghalibah. Allah's will is dominant. Now listen to this. Connect this sentence to the following sentence, then connect it to the following sentence. Then he says, وَحُكْمُهُ نَافِذَةٌ. And his will is also what? Inevitable. So it's inevitable in terms of what Allah wants. Then Imam Hussain alayhi salam says, نحن مشيئة الله في خلقه. We are Allah's will in His creation. So it's not light. Don't think it's light that just, you know what, I follow the Imam. من مات وليس في عنقه بيعة لإمام مات مميتة جاهلية. If you die and you don't have an allegiance to an Imam, you will die the death of an ignorant person. A jahil. So don't think imama is something light. You will be called by that imam. In your time, you will be called. Now, why is the imam the imam? What is the criteria that the imam holds at the highest level that's different between me and you? What does he hold that differentiates him completely from humanity? Imam Hussain alayhi salam points to this. And he says, As-sabru nasburu ala balaihi. We are patient at the bala of Allah, meaning the calamities of Allah, meaning the trials of Allah. We have held ourselves to the highest points of patience. That's what differentiates the Imam from me and you. Patience is connected to willpower. Those two are connected. So at that level, it's very important for you to understand. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The Quran alludes to this. We don't have to just take a hadith. Let's go to the Quran. Because the Quran also commands us. And it says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَجَعَلْنَا مِن بَيْنِهِمْ أَئِمَّةً تَدْعُو تَهْدِي بِأَمْرِنَا لَمَّا صَبَرُوا. We have from amongst them, we have bestowed from amongst them people, leaders who guide by our command when they are patient. Leadership and patience. So if you want to lead others, if you want to lead yourself, you need what? You need patience. Patience and willpower are connected. So what is the criteria of the Imam? It's patience. Because they have been tried at the highest level. So now, when we conduct ourselves in a certain way, and we act within the means of the Imam, what happens here? So now, what are the three types of patience? Think about this. The next time, and I'm going to differentiate between these three. So we go from Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Think of Abbas in Karbala. He breaks through the line. Brother. I ask you to be a little bit patient with me. Could you put your phone away? If you don't mind. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'll call you out. I'm sorry. Imam Hussain is too important to me. You can put your phone away whenever you want. But please, just give me a little bit of your time. Be a little bit patient. That's it. Thank you. So now, what are the three types of patience? Imam Hussain alayhi salam gives us that they are what? They are Allah's divine will. Imam Ali alayhi salam, the father of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, gives us the three types of patience. And he says, الصبر على المعصية والصبر على الطاعة والصبر عند النائبة. To have this patience, for you to be able to hold back this will when you are committing sin. When the sin, the temptation is in front of you. And now you have to hold back. The phone is tempting, and I understand. It's tempting. But Imam Hussain alayhi salam should be in your heart. The will that you have should be in your heart. So now, on the second level, Ramadan is coming. You have to have patience fi ta'ah, meaning on that level of what? That you have to follow the commands of Allah. That also takes patience. When you fast, it takes patience. But the third level, as-sabru 'inda an-na'iba, which means in calamity, the test. When you are tested, it's very easy when we're all sitting in a mosque. We have cake, air conditioning, heat. It's comfortable. Do you know when you are truly holding a principle that is really in your heart? It's when you are tested. It's not when everything is comfortable. It's when you are tested. And Imam Hussain alayhi salam was tested at the highest level. That his brother Abbas breaks through the lines. He's moving towards the water. Imagine you haven't drank. Imagine for days you haven't drank. You get to the water. You pick it up. I'm going to tell you a little story just at this moment. And please just pay attention here. There was a man that was adrift at sea for 76 days. Found a way to make seawater purified so he can drink it. When he did that, he stayed adrift for 76 days. But when the system that he made stopped working, he said this on television. He said, if you were to ask me for my right hand for exchange for a cup of water, he said, I would give you my right hand. That's how much that is difficult. That's a difficult exam by Allah. But your patience has to be at the highest level. So now, Abbas alayhi salam grabs the water. He holds it. You guys know the famous line. Karbala is a university. We should be learning every single day. It's not just we commemorate. You should download the principle, the idea, put it right next to your heart. Feed it with your emotions and let it sprout into your actions. If you don't do that, then why are you here? What's the reason? If Karbala does not change you, your actions should change, your emotions should change, your thought process should change. When you do that, you become something different. When you walk into someone's presence, I guarantee you they feel your energy. I guarantee it. They feel your confidence. They know who you are. There's something different about you. What you carry in your heart is different. When you project on your emotional Wi-Fi to the world, you project an energy of calmness, stillness, confidence. When you can do that, you can get to points when you're challenged. I was challenged one day. And sometimes I win my challenges, sometimes I lose. But I had a TED Talk. Alhamdulillah, significant stage by the will of Allah. I look and my name is coming up next and I have to speak. You get 15 minutes. But I'm looking at the clock and it's time to pray. And the clock is getting closer and the person is getting closer to ending. And those two times are about to meet and cross over. What should I do? So on that level, I made a decision. I said, Ya Allah, it doesn't matter what happens. I don't care. I've let go of the outcome. I'm going to pray. As I'm praying, they announce my name. And I'm late to going up on stage. But those are the things you have to sacrifice. It doesn't matter what the reward is. It doesn't matter. And I don't do this all the time. Sometimes I lose. But that will and that strength is really amazing when you could do that. So those are the three types of patience. So how do I become patient? How do I become patience itself? What should I do when I'm actually going through this process? And then Abbas, I remember that. But he says what? Ya nafs min ba'd al-Hussain huni. Wow. What an expression. That I'm sacrificing my thirst, my well-being, my money, my energy, everything that I have in the name of what? Hussain. So when you celebrate the birth, you should be born again. Your covenant with Imam Hussain needs to be born again. Take tonight a covenant with Imam Hussain and say, you know what? I have something inside of me that I don't like. Every one of us is being challenged by something. Right now, every one of you, just close your eyes just for a second if you choose to. Think of the thing that has challenged you for years. Think of it. Put it in your mind and bring it to the forefront of what you're thinking. And that challenge is difficult because it's persistent. It doesn't let you go. It may be what? You may be jealous. It may be that you hold others and you're constantly what? Comparing yourself to others. It may be something more than that. Take that. Bring it to your forefront. Think about it. And then what? Make a covenant with Imam Hussain alayhi salam. That tonight, go in the middle of the night. Do you guys have basements here, by the way? Do you guys have basements? You guys know what basements are? Yes? No? Okay. So if you have a basement, tonight, set your alarm at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. This is my challenge to you. 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. Set that. Wake up. When you wake up, go to the basement and don't turn on the lights. just look into the darkness. Look into the darkness of the basement. When you're standing up there, watch a movie, scary movie before you do that, okay? That's preferable. It gets your system out, your parasympathetic, your sympathetic nervous system will activate. Okay, your amygdala in the back of your brain will activate. Okay, the lower part of the brain. When you do that and you are scared, okay, activate that system and then look into the darkness of the basement and take a few steps down. See what you can handle. Can you go down? Do you take a few steps down and then what? You back off? What happens to you? Take account of your emotions. Can you do that? Because all of us are going down there. One way or another, you're going down there. Then go down, if you can. You might go down a few steps, then turn back around and say, I'm done. Wissam, I'm done. I can't do this. No problem. That's fine. But let's say you make it to the bottom of the stairs. And when you make it to the bottom of the stairs, just listen to the silence. Just for a second. Listen to the silence. And then from there, walk into the basement. Sit there for a few minutes in the silence. Then if you really want to take it to another level, pull out your prayer mat and pray 2 rak'ah prayer. Just do that. And reflect in the middle of the night. And ask Allah for whatever is bothering you, whatever is with you. If someone who has wronged you, this is Imam Hussain alayhi salam. This is why we follow. Because of the etiquette, the character, the development of that process. That the heart can take calmness to even someone I dislike. That I pray for them. I alleviate my heart. I displace my energy to something better and more powerful. So on that level, how do I become patient? Number one thing that you need to do. When you become patient and you hit that trial and you get tested, what happens? What happens to frustration? When you hit that wall, let's say you wanted a car, your dad didn't get it for you. You wanted to take an exam, but you failed. You took a class, you failed that, okay? Someone stole something from you. Frustration hits. It's not easy to be tested. So on that level, when the Imam is tested at the highest level, patience is this. Three levels of patience. Number one, الثقة بالله. To have this utmost belief that I'm going to be okay in the future. Most of us, when we are in the middle of trial, you know where your mind goes? Into outcomes. It goes into outcomes. We cannot handle the pressure of the situation. Drop the outcome, you will drop the fear. What am I really talking about here? I'm really talking about tawakkul. When you have this patience, you have what? This form in terms of your ideas. You're connected to the future through your imagination. But what happens to you? You say, Ya Allah, you have what I don't have. Your wisdom is greater than mine. I submit to you. So I have belief that you're going to take care of me. So you drop the outcome. وَأُوحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّ مُوسَىٰ أَنْ أَرْضِعِيهِ فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ فَأَلْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ وَلَا تَخَافِي وَلَا تَحْزَنِي إِنَّ رَادُّوهُ إِلَيْكِ. We have bestowed what? This inspired the heart of the mother of Musa alayhi salam. And it says what? If you are fear, suckle him. And if you fear over his life, what? Think of this. If you fear over his life, put him where? In a basket. Now, sisters, here's some babies here, okay? I know, could you bring them up here for a second? I'm joking. But a girl or boy, come here, come up. There. Okay, he stopped. Okay, but what? On that level, could you imagine, who's the mother here? Who's the mother? Right there, okay. Could you imagine putting him in a basket by Allah's will and then casting him down a river? Could you imagine that? It's almost impossible to fathom. But this is the power of Allah. When your heart conceals itself with something so beautiful that nothing can touch you. Nothing, no trial in the world can touch you. Think of the love between a mother and a child. That is the strongest form of connection. There's nothing more greater in terms of a bond than that. Nothing. But look what Allah is testing her with. Your most beloved and that connection. But what is she saying to us? She's saying, I cannot protect this child. There is something greater than me that will protect this child. And that protection is what? My patience. In who? In Allah's decree. That the outcome is going to be fine. Because Allah promises. He says, suckle him and do what? Put him in the river. I just want to ask you this. She's walking up to the river. Does she have control? Does she have control of the basket? Yes or no? No. Yes, she does. I'm sorry. Yes, she does. She has control. She gets to the bank of the river. Does she still have control? She can still turn around. Now watch this. You want to see taslim at the highest level? You want to see the submission of Allah at the highest level? This is the power of faith. That nothing can touch you on the face of this earth. When your heart has this kind of energy, this kind of power, nothing touches you. No trial. This is what the Imams are. This is why we follow. It's because of character. It's not because of anything else. This is who we are. This is why we stand. This is why we are Shia. Because of characters like him. There's nothing like the Imam. So when we celebrate, it's really amazing, the celebration that should happen in your heart because of who you follow. So now she gets to the bank of the river. She puts the baby in the water. I just want you to just go with me just for a second. Just take a second and imagine the second she lets go. Control? No control. Ahsant. Say it again, brother. Say it again. Ahsant. The highest form of control is letting go of control. You want to see power, strength, control to who though? You let go of your control to who? To the ultimate capable. To the ultimate power of creation. He's created you and created me. When you can let go at that level, trust me, your heart is calm. You are in the eye of the storm. Chaos is all around you. But your faith in Allah is greater than the storm. It's greater than the chaos. So your heart is in the eye of the storm. It doesn't move. That's number one. To be patient, you have to have this concept, الثقة بالله, that I let go of the outcome. I'm no longer afraid of what's going to happen. I drop the outcome, so I drop the fear. When I drop the fear, security enters my heart. How many times you hear today now, I'm insecure, I'm anxious, I'm this, I'm that, I'm depressed. Sorry, sisters, but I'm going to say this fact, okay? 1 out of 4 women in these days is on antidepressants. 1 out of 4. Think about that. Men have their own problems, trust me. But think about that. What's the reason? Why have we gotten to this state? Why have our kids, the phone is their best friend. They don't know you. The average kid from 12 to 15 years of age spends 7 hours and 22 minutes on a phone per day. That's a full-time job. Do you think you're downloading that kind of information into their mind? You're not. You're losing the battle, trust me. We have to be very careful in how we move forward, because the way the kid is getting wired is extremely important. But on that level, we have to have this thiqatu billah. Number 2, how do I become more patient? Number 2, our ulama talk about al-ladda fi tark al-ladda, meaning that when a temptation comes to me, Abbas alayhi salam, he's there. He has the water. The temptation of the water is great. Your temptations are great. My temptations are great. There's nothing sometimes I could do because the temptation has got me at the highest level. How do I fight? Could you imagine if you feel more pleasure in saying no to the temptation than actually saying yes from the pleasure of the temptation? That's the second level of sabr. So when you have the capability to believe in outcomes, that Allah will return things to you. If you lose them, He will return them to you. And then the second you exchange your emotional gratification, you can delay that gratification. And then what happens? Allah will reward you with something greater. So now, let's say you commit the sin, and now you're going back to Allah. So Allah has designed patience, as-sabr, for what? So you can go back to Him. What happens when the world breaks you? You have no one to turn to, no support group, no person, no therapist can help you. You go back to who? You go back to Allah Azza wa Jal. And you go in your basement in the middle of the night and you cry. You put your heart in sujood. And when that happens, now what? You begin to feel something different. Power and energy is recharged through your prayer. When you have that, it's incredible. The third level. And I'm sorry, there's just so much noise. It's really, I'm sorry, I can't get into my groove. I'm sorry. I'm trying. Okay? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now, I'm just going to share something with you really quickly, because I'm going to give you the third level. The third level is really beautiful, because if you can reach this level, then there's something really special in your heart. And I want to follow you. If I see you and you have this level, then what? You have something amazing. This level, first, الثقة بالله. Number 2, اللذة في ترك اللذة. And I'll give you a quick example for the second one. How can Imam Ali alayhi salam, the father of Imam Hussain, lift the gates of Khaybar? But at the time of food, he can't break a piece of bread. Just think for a second. How? So Imam Ali lifted the gates of Khaybar, which nobody can do. But at the time of actually eating food, he couldn't break a piece of bread. How's that? It's because of this. When it's for Allah, he's a lion. But when it's for his desires, there's nothing that can control him. That he doesn't want that. There's a difference. When you submit your will to Allah, your heart has so much strength. That for the sisters, if a guy comes up the wrong way, I'm sorry, go talk to my father. For my brothers, you see something on social media you shouldn't be looking at, you say, Astaghfirullah. But that's the point of temptation. That the Quran speaks about this. And it says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, فَأَمَّا مَنْ طَغَى وَآثَرَ حَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا فإن الجحيم هي المأوى وأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى فإن الجنة هي المأوى. Surely the one who wants this world, who's transgressed and they desire this world, hellfire is the abode. Me and you will face that day. But on the other side, it's the one who grabs themselves, does not go towards regressive desire. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ. Allah, when He's standing right there, and the temptation is standing right there, what happens? They remember who? They remember Allah. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. Forbids the self from regressive inclinations. Surely heaven is the abode. But when you think of heaven and hell, do you think of it with an emotion of truth? Or it's just a passing idea? I'm going to be on my phone. Doesn't matter. 10 minutes after the speech, I forget. It doesn't matter. Do you have an emotion of truth? Do you put yourself in that situation? There's a difference. So on that level, the third is ash-shukr. Could you imagine thanking Allah for your bala? That when you hit the wall of frustration, you say, whatever's behind this wall, okay, was not good for me. Ya Allah, you're stopping me here because you want me to go in a different direction. And then when I feel so bad and the world has done me so wrong, I go back to you, Ya Allah. I cry in the middle of the night. That when I cry, I feel that relief and I feel gratitude in my heart. Thank you, Ya Allah, you've stopped me from this. Do you have that kind of patience? These are the rules that you need to follow. Your heart needs to create an algorithm for that. That when you can have that kind of patience, there's nothing that can stop you. And I'm going to give you some neuroscience before I end. Please pay attention to this, okay? Now, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You know what? I'm just going to leave that alone for a second. But in neuropsychology, I love neuropsychology. It's like, to me, it's just the most amazing thing. Okay? It's the study of the brain. Cognitive psychology is how processes work, how your mind works. The processes that work. If you see a red light, you stop. If you see a green light, you stop. These are called cognitive representations for behavior. So on that level, actually you go, right? Did I mess up? None of you stop me. Come on, at least stop me. Say something. So brother, no, I'm sorry. I'm giving you, so how about if you pull up to a light and you get a red and green light at the same time? What would you do? Give me a raise of hands that you would go. You get both a green and a red light. What would you do? Raise your hands, you will still go. Wow, okay, no adventurous people here. Okay, how about if you would stop? How about if you would go through with precaution? You would just go through, but you'll be precautious. I'm telling you, you have no idea how much information you're giving about yourself right now. If you're in a business deal with me and I ask you that question, and I'm sitting across from you and I ask you that question, you're giving off so much information about yourself. You just don't know it. But the reason I'm telling you this is life will offer you confusing messages. People will give you confusing messages. Let me give you a quick example before I end. If I say this to you, watch this. Watch how I can give you contradicting messages within one statement. If I say to you right now, if I say to you, yes, no. What did I just do? But with one language, which is my behavior, I said what? I gave you contradicting messages. People are experts at that. That's the red light and the green light. That's a test from Allah. When you get into those situations, you need wisdom to know how to navigate situations. That's why you need the imams, especially when the problems get really hard, when it's not easy. But imagine the last part. No matter what situation you're going through, you have shukr in your heart. you're thankful for your bala. Could you imagine that? If you have reached this stage in your heart where I say, Ya Allah, I remember one brother, and I'll finish with this. He called me. And he was literally, when he called, he's like, Wissam. He goes, I can't move. I don't know what happened to me. I said, what were you doing? He's like, I was getting up from sujood. And he goes, now I'm lying face on my face, flat. I don't know what to do. I can't move. I don't know what happened to me. His daughter called me, and now he's in this situation. I'm flying over there. I get there, and he's flat on his face, and I see a tear going down his eye, and it's going down his cheek. I said, are you afraid? Is everything okay? He's like, I can't move. And just imagine how terrifying that is. You're completely fine. In a second, you can't move. His back just went out. And he can't move at all. I said, are you okay? He smiled. I was so intrigued. I said, why did you smile? He goes, I feel euphoric. He goes, Wissam, I feel euphoric. I said, what do you mean? He said, if I said to myself before you got here, I said, I remembered Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And I said to myself, Ya Allah, if this pleases you, then take as much as you want. I'm okay. When you're in those moments and you can't move, and life has taken something very precious away from you. I lost my mom and I lost my dad in a span of 3 years. When you lose something that special, it's very difficult. It's not easy. But when your mom, I would just, whenever I wanted to leave, I would look at my mom and I would just tell her, Ya Ummi Da'ili, oh mom, pray for me. She would just lift her hands up and she would just say, Allah wafak. May Allah bestow blessings upon you. When you have that kind of bond and connection with people, and you have a mother like that, I've already gained the world. My father was an incredible man. This is why I stand. But I stand in a greater level here, and I travel thousands of miles. Why? Because of something greater than my parents, something greater than myself, something greater than this whole world. It's Imam Hussain alayhi salam. There's one cell in your brain that holds the name of Hussain. Understand the value of that cell. Understand what that is. Understand the value in what you own. That is in your mind. But connected to your heart. That it doesn't allow you to move past your principles. Nothing, no temptation, no reward would allow you to succumb to anything but Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.